Hello lovely book dragons and welcome to episode 3 of Vlogs in Bookland. If you're new here and you have no idea what I'm talking about, what is Vlogs in Bookland, I will leave our previous videos linked down below. Basically, my awesome friends Natasha, Felipe, Manganette and I decided that we would create reading vlogs every weekend for you, and each vlog is a different theme, a different challenge, and different version. In our very first episode, we recommended each other books without knowing who would read the book that we recommended. In our second episode, we did Instagram Controls Our Life, which was a very interesting vlog. And today we are here with our newest idea. Before I talk to you about the new idea, and you will already see what it is in the title of this video, but before I talk about that, I would like to encourage you to follow us on Instagram, which is Vlogs in Bookland. We often need your participation for our content, and it's always a lot of fun over there, and you will probably see a few things popping up in the future where you can be participating in our vlogs in one way or another. So follow us on there, Vlogs in Bookland, like I said, and don't forget to subscribe to my lovely friends Natasha, Felipe and Manganette. Odds are you already are subscribed to them, but if you're not, please go on over there. They're a lot of fun, they're awesome girls, and we just have a ton of fun together. As you may gather from today's title, this is a 24-hour reading vlog where we are going to be picking books for each other to read, but not based on our recommendations, not based on what we know the other person will like. No. What we decided to do was to tackle that TBR. Yes, you heard it here, you heard it first. We are taking down our TBR one book at a time, but that's how you should do it. So what we did to find the book on our TBR to recommend to someone else was that we gave coordinates based off our bookshelves. You see in the background here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bookshelves in this room. I have a 5th in the living room, which is all of my favorite authors and all of their works. So it's either a lot of books I've already read or books by my favorite authors which I haven't read yet. So for this video, I told the girls, okay, pick one of the shelves, and then we did the shelves in and of themselves, as you can see, and then on the shelves we picked the books. So one girl gave me the bookshelf that I needed to look for, the other girl gave me the actual shelf, and the final girl gave me the book that I would read from that shelf. At the time I'm filming this right now, this update, I don't know what I'm going to be reading because we haven't had our Zoom call yet where the girls gave me the coordinates. I will, after this clip, insert it so you can see what so you know what I'm going to be reading. But yeah, I don't know yet, and I'm going to say I'm really nervous. I'm still debating if I should put my favorites on the options list because, listen, it's either, like I said, books I've already read, so that's fine, but it could also be behemoths. Like behemoths of my faves that I haven't read yet. Like there are all the Song of Ice and Fire books on there. There are all the Brandon Sanderson books on there. There are all the Robin Hobb and the Joe Abercrombie books on there. Those books are huge. And they're mostly all in series, so yeah, we'll see. On these shelves, I am also a bit nervous because I would really like to fall on a short book, but as a fantasy reader, short books are really rare to come across. So I have over here a few books that are not fantasy, and I would kind of hope to fall in that area because I'm currently reading a ton of books. I would like to make progress across all of those books in this reading vlog, but I don't know. I guess we will see. To add a little bit of a twist to this vlog, because we don't know that we're going to be finishing the book that is recommended to us in this 24 hours, because last weekend, as you saw, we slightly went mad with the vlog, except for Manganette. She loved it. She was like, oh, productive, yay. Nah. All the other ones, me the most, of course. I want to cry. I want to cry. This day is like a fucking joke. Why do you do this? There you go. Oh, this headache. Oh, I get to go to bed. We're never doing this again, girls. Never, ever. So to give it a little twist, to make it a little bit more interesting just than reading updates, what we're going to do is each 50 pages that we read, we are going to ask for coordinates from you guys over on our individual Instagrams, which I will also leave a link down below. And we're going to talk about random books on our shelves. It's either going to be books that we recommend, books that we haven't read yet, books that we have lost interest in. Who knows? Anything could happen. An unhaul could happen in this vlog. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. This is exciting. Are you excited? I'm excited. I will see you soon after we've discovered what book I'm going to be reading, and then we'll see if I'm still this excited. Because last week's vlog also started with me being, yay, I'm so pumped, and then at the end I wanted to die. So we'll see what happens in this reading vlog. Natasha, a number between 1 and 4.
3.
Okay.
She was not very happy about that.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. My smallest books are on that shelf. Manganette, between 1 and 6.
6.
Okay. Philippa, between 1 and 15.
10.
3, 6, 10. Okay.
This is exciting. Like, I'm even nervous. Like,
The book that I got is Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore.
oh.
I am really nervous because I hated the first book I read by her.
Oh.
But this is a very small book. It's 340 pages.
It's almost the same.
The same as mine.
Yeah, Books and I love that book, I think.
It's good because I would never read this if it weren't for this challenge, so perfect.
Hey guys, so this is me post Zoom and you just saw the coordinates that the girls gave me, which was shelf number 3, which is the skinny one right behind me, and then bookshelf was number 6, which is hidden behind this chair, and book it was number, I don't remember, 13 or something, and that was technically Dear Martin by Nick Stone, and I've read that book and it's amazing and you should definitely read it, especially in light of everything that's going on right now in the world. Nick Stone by Dear Martin is a must read. It's super short. You can definitely read that really fast, but it is so important that you do read it, and that would be my recommendation from this video, that you go ahead and pick up Nick Stone's Dear Martin and read it because it's super important. Since I found a book that I'd already read, I asked the girls, do I go one book backwards or one book forward? And Philippa, who had chosen the book, said go one forward, and I landed on Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore. Now, this book is absolutely stunning. Like, the cover is just so beautiful. Look at this. Like, wow. And this is, if I don't know much about this. I wanted to get into Anna Marie McLemore because I'd heard so many amazing things about her books and her writing, and so I bought 2 of her books, When the Moon Was Ours and Wild Beauty, on a whim one time. They were really cheap on Amazon for the hardcover, so I bought them. I read her book When the Moon Was Ours and I really disliked it. I unhauled it. I do no longer own it. And that put me off from reading this book for the longest time. I honestly think that this is the kind of book that at the end of this year, when I would go through my shelves to see, okay, what do I still want to read? How do I want to rearrange my shelves? Which I wanted to do with you at the end of the year. I probably would have unhauled this book without reading it because I disliked her first book so much that I didn't want to read this. Now, why did I dislike her first book? Maybe it was my problem. Maybe I didn't go into it expecting it to be magical realism. Maybe I was just not in the right mindset. I do not know. I just know that I'm gonna keep an open mind about this book, which I know absolutely nothing about. I'm gonna read the synopsis and see what it's actually about, or I'm just gonna go in and not have any expectations, because I think that's the best. I don't want to know too much about it. I just want to start and read it. It is a fairly short book, so I'm actually really happy that this came out and not like a huge fantasy novel. So when she said shelf number 3, I knew that on this shelf I either have books that I bought a very long time ago and have lost a lot of interest in, or it's like Victoria Schwab and stuff, and that would be a little bit longer but also a lot of fun. But I'm glad that it was a book that I wouldn't have picked up on my own, and so I'm really glad that we're doing this project. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start reading Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore, and I will let you know what I'm thinking as I read it. Okay guys, I read the synopsis and yes, I remember a little bit about it. This follows a family of women where they have this, like, they're tending a garden which is called La Pedrera, if I'm not, La Pradera, and they are tending this garden and they were kind of cursed, if I remember correctly, that everyone they fall in love with, if they fall in love too deeply, that person just vanishes. And there's one boy that shows up for Estrella and he doesn't disappear. And he doesn't remember his name or anything, and that's basically the premise of this book. I'm gonna start now and we'll see what I think. little bit later. I have read the first 50 pages of Wild Beauty. I'm not sure how I'm feeling. I have a better grasp of the plot. The plot is about this family of women, the No Me Olvides women, which means forget me not, like the flower. And each generation of those women has 5 girls. So just like a forget me not flower has 5 petals, they have 5 girls. And they are bound to this place because before they were bound to this La Pedrera or La Padrera, I don't remember, but that place, they were basically like, they didn't have a past or anything. Like, it's kind of like they didn't exist, but they existed, and they were always hunted down as witches, and so they are in this place where they live together. The thing is, there's no men there, because all the men that they fall in love with disappear, and somehow at the beginning of this book, the grandmothers, the mothers, the daughters all live together, of course, and all the daughters, the 5 daughters, fell in love with the same woman. And in the beginning of the book, we have a boy who appears without his memories, without anything. He doesn't remember his name, he doesn't remember his past, he doesn't know anything. He wonders if he's landed in heaven or in purgatory. He's like, I would like to confess my sins, but I don't even remember them. So we go from there, and I'm having a hard time. I realized that I once read The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Eva Lavender, and that was magical realism, and that book I loved. Like, I loved it back in the day. And so I thought magical realism is absolutely a genre for me. And I don't think it is. So I'm gonna see if I'm hating it, I'm gonna DNF this book. I don't have a problem with that. I want to give it another 100 pages and see. If in 100 pages I'm not invested, then I'm over halfway through the book. And if I'm still not invested, I'm just gonna DNF it because I'm reading a lot of books that I'm enjoying. So I'd rather do that. But 50 pages means the first shelf talk. So I'm gonna pick this coordinates from my friend Marine, which was 2, 7, 24. Let's do this. So bookcase number 2, shelf number 7, book 24 was this. This is a translation. I will read you the English title, which is Agent Storm, My Life Inside Al-Qaeda and the CIA by Morton Storm. This is the book. It's funny because Marine is a French friend, a French bookstagrammer, whose bookstagram I will leave linked down below because she takes amazing pictures and she's just one of the sweethearts of my life. I love Marine so much. We've been friends for 2 years now. Oh, time passes. And yeah, this was the book that landed. So this book I have not yet read. I remember that one day I was book shopping with my mom and we both saw this book and we both really enjoy this kind of like non-fiction where it's someone who does something undercover or experiences something like drugs or disease and then tells their story about it. Kind of like a memoir, right? So we both thought this would be super interesting, and I remember that we both got it, or one of us got it with the intent, like I got it with the intent of giving it to her, like let her read it. I don't remember, but I know that I bought this with my mom and I thought this was super interesting. And yes, this is the memoir of the author. This book is actually sounds super interesting. I kind of forgot that it was on my shelves, to be honest with you. I am actually really glad that we're doing this because I honestly couldn't remember having this. This book, this French pocket edition, is a little bit over 500 pages, but yeah, I think I am gonna put this back on my radar. I might even do it, you know what? I might do a video where I read the books that I got from these coordinates, the ones that I haven't read yet, and then I will see what I think about. But this sounds super interesting, but also something that I could never binge read, you know, because it's just such a difficult topic. And yeah, I don't know how this would be. I'm sure it will be interesting, but it's also something that I would have to read very slowly and take my time with. Hey guys, it is again a little bit later. I've reached the 100 page mark. I'm not going to talk to you much about the book because I said in my previous update that I would give it to page 150 to see how I feel about it. So I will come back at 150 and do the next update and the next mystery book from my shelf, and then I will tell you what I'm thinking. But I just wanted to now do for the 100 pages the next book on my shelf, and I will pick these coordinates which I really like, which was 4, 4, 4. So let's do that. Shelf number 4 is this one right here, so let's go see. Bookcase number 4, shelf number 4, book number 4 is The Invasion of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This is super funny because earlier Marine gave us the coordinates, and I actually buddy read this with Marine and Tamara about
1.5 years ago, I think we finished the trilogy at the beginning of 2019. So we read this in 2018. So this is a book that I have read and I can tell you a little bit about. The Invasion of the Tearling is a sequel to The Queen of the Tearling, which is an adult fantasy trilogy in which we follow our main character, Kelsey. Kelsey was brought up in a cottage by this couple, and she is actually the heir to the throne. The political climate was too dangerous for her to be at the castle, so she was raised by these people and raised in a cottage, and she didn't grow up with all the royalty around her and everyone treating her like a princess. She was raised like a normal person, even though she always knew that this was her heritage. In the first book, it's time for her to reclaim her throne and reclaim her kingdom for herself, and therefore she is brought by a whole bunch of people that want to protect her because, of course, everyone wants her death because she is special. And she is taken to the castle, and there she has to be faced with the horrible, horrible things that have happened in her absence, and she cannot fathom that her mother and her uncle were okay with this. She really finds out really quickly that her uncle is just really a dumb guy. But basically, Kelsey's country is at war with another country where there is a Red Queen who imposed that people from Kelsey's country, that the royalty from Kelsey's country send slaves over to their country. And when Kelsey finds out about this, she is appalled. She cannot understand how her mother would agree to this, how her family would stand behind such a horrible law that just sends people basically to their death or to become slave or to be murdered. And she arrives at the castle and she says, stop, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to do what this Red Queen asked us to do. Why are we doing this? Why are we all okay with this? And she starts changing things little by little. And I've read that first book twice, I think 2 or 3 times, I don't remember, but I love the first book. I absolutely love the first book so much. As we go further into the series is very, very polarizing, by the way, because we gain a little bit more of a science fiction point in it. So it becomes like a science fiction fantasy at one point. And it is very polarizing. The science-y aspects start in this book. And in the beginning, I remember that I started this specific book. I started it back in the day when I read The Queen of Italia for the first time. I started the sequel and I couldn't get behind the fact that all of a sudden there was this science fiction-y twist to it. So I put it aside and then I picked it up with my friends Tamara and Marin and we read it, and then we finished the trilogy. And I personally found the camp of people that really, really liked the ending of it, but I know a lot of people don't. So yeah. You can still read the first book and kind of leave it as a standalone. I mean, the story does continue, but you would have a nice fantasy story in the first book if you're not interested in continuing. But I really like the series. I love the covers, and I think this was a ton of fun to buddy read. It is now much later, about 9 p.m.-ish, and I am on page 150 of Wild Beauty. And as I promised, I wanted to come give an update and then pick the next book off my shelves. So, about the book. I wasn't really enjoying it until now. Just now, the last chapter I read kind of intrigued me again. And I'm definitely going to continue. I'm not going to DNF it, at least not for now. And I don't think I will DNF it because by the time I would DNF it, I would have 100 pages left, and it's a really quick read. So I think I'm going to finish it, which is a good thing. And I'm getting a little bit a better grasp of what's happening. So the girls, like I told you, they are stuck on this hill estate kind of thing because every time they leave that estate or that place, they just... the world wants to kill them because they're witches, etc., etc. How are they witches? I told you that they were tending a garden, and the thing is that they can create the flowers. So like I think it's kind of like about their names. Like one of them is called Kala, and she produces lilies, for example. And I have come to an understanding that I like hard magic systems. I do not like this magic.
Magical realism, I think it's not for me. I will not continue reading magical realism after this. I might reread The Strange and Beautiful Stars of Ava Lavender because I love that book, but I think it was more the family aspect and the stuff like that I like more than the magical realism. But I don't think I will be picking up any more magical realism in the future, at least not this kind of magical realism. I will see. But I love hard magic systems. I need to know, like, if I take this metal and I consume it, I can do this. Like Mistborn, for example. Like earlier in this book, they mentioned pewter, and I was like, with pewter, you could do this and this. Like, I need hard magic systems. Like, even with Sanderson's Stormlight, like when they're like the lashings and all that stuff, I'm like, wait, how does this look like? I love hard magic systems. I can get behind a soft magic system when it's like Harry Potter, like you wave your wand and you give a spell, fine. But I need some rules and structure. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm kind of enjoying the book. I will finish it. I will continue. And yeah, let's do the next. As for the coordinate, let's go with this one, which is 1713. Shelf number 1 is right here. Let's go. The book that came out with that coordinate is The Queen of Italia by Megan Welland Turner. I'm super excited that this book came up for this chat because this is a book that I have been meaning to read for forever. Story behind this book. My best friend from college, she's like a sister to me. She's one of my best friends in life. She loved this series. She's also a big reader. She also likes fantasy, but she's not like it. She only reads fantasy. And she always told me, always read the Queen's Thief series by Megan Welland Turner. She told me, like, I picked that series up. It's one of my favorites, one of the best books. And this specifically, she always mentioned The Queen of Italia because, funny thing, this is the second book in the trilogy, which is no longer a trilogy. She wrote a bunch of other novels in this world, so this is still ongoing. Like, there was an original trilogy and then more books came out and more books are still coming out. I think there's one coming out this year. But point is, this is the second book and the first one is called The Thief. And she told me, my friend, I didn't even know that this was part of a series. I one day saw it in the store. I saw Queen of Italia and I was like, yeah, I'll read that. And she picked this up without ever reading the first book and she read from here and she absolutely loved it. So I thought, okay, fine, I want to read one of your favorite series, but I want to do things right. And I picked up The Thief, as you should start with the first book in a series. I have now read this book twice and I never continue with the series. I don't know why. And look at these covers. Look at this aesthetic. I love these covers. But yeah, I have now picked up this first book 2 times and have yet to continue the series. This is ridiculous, which I don't know why, because they are super short. They could be like palette cleanser fantasy novels, and I was really enjoying this one. So I don't know why I didn't continue. I don't know. I often have this thing where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start a series, and then I read the first book, and it's like, I read the series, right? Done. But no, that's not how it works. You have to read everything to read the series, not just the first book. So actually, one of my plans for, I don't know, this year or maybe next year is to read this for a 3rd time. I saw that the audiobook is on Scribd. It's not very long since this book is not very long. And re-listen to the audiobook to freshen my memory and then finally continue on to the Queen of Italia, the King of Italia, and then continue with the rest of the series because she wrote more. So the Queen of Italia is definitely on my list of things I want to read absolutely this year or next year, but it is a fantasy series that I want to continue with a high recommendation from one of my bestest friends in real life. Because this is so fun, I thought let's just do another one. Let's just go for another coordinate and talk about the book. I'm gonna go with this one, 2525. Let's go. There were no books with that coordinate on my shelf. That shelf is a hardcover shelf, so there's less books. So what I did is when I reached the end, I just continued counting from book 1, and we would then arrive on Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This series, guys. First, when I joined BookTube, I had a friend who was making videos. This is how I met her. I met her through the YouTubes, and she got me into fantasy. I was reading the Throne of Glass series back then, and she said, no, you need to read Laini Taylor because she is the bomb. And I thought, okay, but this, my friend, is high fantasy. And back then I was reading Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, which it's high fantasy, but Throne of Glass was still soft, you know, kind of like not too much. This though was a step up from all that, and I picked the first book up and I absolutely loved it, like so much. I remember specifically, this is the second book in the trilogy. I remember specifically reading this because I was at a friend's house. Like when, I don't know if you know this, but if you study in America and you have a student visa, you cannot be out of the country, the United States. I think it's 5 months on the day. I think it was 5 months, right? Yeah, it was 5 months. You cannot leave for more than 5 months. However, my semesters never added up. Like I always had to spend, after my summer or my spring semester, I always had to spend a few weeks in America, then come home and then leave back in January so that I would have 5 months on the dot. Of course, I always tried to leave like a few days earlier so that I wouldn't run into problems in case my planes were delayed or something, you know. But that led to the fact that I often had to stay at some friend's house over the summer for a few weeks and just enjoy time with my friends in America, which was fantastic, of course. One of the summers where I did that, I remember that I picked this book up. I took it with me. My friend was also a reader, so we would just read together and do plenty of fun stuff, but reading was one of the activities. And I remember that I picked this book up and I read until the sun came up. I was reading this and all of a sudden I started seeing the sun coming up and I was like, oh my goodness, it is the morning and I am still reading. And let me tell you, that almost never happens, not even with my favorite books. Like I need my sleep. I'm someone, if I don't get enough sleep, I get headaches, like really bad headaches. So I almost never stay up late to just continue reading. I always think, well, you know, tomorrow's another day, so I'm gonna read tomorrow. Unless I'm like at the tail end of a book, then yes, I will stay awake to finish the book. But here, I was not at the tail end, no. I was like in the middle or something. And the sun came up and I saw it and I was like, oh, Lord heavens above. I threw the book away. I set an alarm for like 3 or 4 hours later and I got back up and I continued reading. And that's how invested I was in the story because I loved it so, so much. The funny thing is that I never read book 3. And I actually started book 3. One second. I started book 3, which came out in 2014, which is Dreams of Gods and Monsters. This came out in 2014, guys. I got it then. I started it then. I still have my bookmark right here. I stopped reading on page 270. And I have no idea why. I don't know why I didn't finish this. I just don't know. So last year in 2019, there were a bunch of booktubers that were doing a read-along for the Daughter Smack and Bone trilogy, and I actually reread book 1 last year in 2019 with the full intent of participating in the whole read-along and finishing book 2 and book 3 to finish the trilogy. I reread this. I tabbed it. Not a lot of tabs, but a few tabs. I enjoyed this again. So of course part of it was nostalgia. It's not one of the best. It's one of the best YA fantasy series, that yes. Very angsty romance and I love it. But I reread this and then didn't continue. Like I even took this on the train with me, even though it is a hardcover, which I don't. Why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why don't I finish series? What we've learned from this is that I am really bad at finishing series. Yay! Needless to say, this trilogy is also on my absolute need to finish this trilogy list. So there you go, guys. That's gonna be it from me for tonight. I think I'm gonna call it a good night for you. I'm not gonna go to bed, of course, not yet. It's a little bit early for that, but I wanted to watch a little bit of YouTube, maybe start editing my video from last week that I recorded during my Instagram Controls My Life vlog. I need to read a little bit in the Throne of Glass series. I probably want to continue a bit with The Hobbit and with my Emma goal. I don't know, but I'm gonna put this book on hold until tomorrow, or I might even continue it, but I don't think I will be updating you anymore tonight, but I will see you tomorrow morning. Hey guys, it is now Saturday and it is 3 p.m, 3:30 p.m. I have not updated you. I'm sorry about that. But basically, I woke up at 10 this morning and I immediately watched an episode of a show with my husband. And then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna edit a video. So I edited my buddy reads video, which you can find right here. It was really fun to film that because I had your input, so I really liked filming that. I liked seeing what you guys had to say about buddy reads, and it is the video I filmed during last week's vlog, which you saw when you guys decided that I needed to film a video. So I decided this morning I'm gonna edit and upload that video, and it's live, you can watch it. And then when I was done doing all that, it was about 1 p.m. and then I said, okay, I'm gonna read another 70 pages of Wild Beauty, which I did. I actually reached page 230 almost, so I read 80 pages of that this morning, and I'm really sad to say that I will not be finishing this book. I know I have 100 pages left, and I should just power through. I should just power through the last 100 pages, but I don't want to. I don't want to finish this book. I don't want to. That's it. I don't want to finish it. So there's nothing inherently wrong with this book. It's not that it is a bad book, but to me, there are so many aspects of this book that just don't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't keep me invested, and I just don't give a damn about what's happening. And therefore, I thought, okay, push through the last 100 pages or go ahead and read 100 pages of Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas, which I'm actually really enjoying. Or go ahead and read 100 pages of The Hobbit, which I'm really enjoying. Or read the first 50 pages of A Feast for Crows, which I would love. Or read anything else on my shelves, which I would love. So I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Bye, you are. See ya. Goodbye. So first things first are the characters. The characters are, we have our main character Estrella, and she is our main character, as well as Fel, who is the boy that shows up in this estate, in this place, and doesn't have any memories. Then we also have the sisters slash cousins. See, I don't even know if they're sisters or cousins. Doesn't that tell you something? You have the sisters slash cousins of Estrella, which are Cala, Azalea, Dahlia, and there's another one. These characters are all the same. I don't care about them. They are not distinct enough. I just don't care. I just don't care. Then you have the mothers and the grandmothers. I don't care. I don't care about any of these women. I just don't. I don't care. The only person that is interesting to me is Fel. I want to know about his background. We've discovered a little bit, which is really interesting, and I want to know more about him. I want to know what's happening, and the only reason I was thinking about pushing through these last 100 pages was to figure out who is he, why is he there, how did he come here, what's his past, what's his story, and especially what's his prior connection to these women. So yeah, out of all the characters, Fel is my favorite, and favorite is a big word. It's not like, oh my gosh, I love him. No, he's slightly more interesting than all the other boring people that have nothing to keep me reading. So he is the part that will make me want to read, but I seriously cannot push through another 100 pages for something that I don't really care about. What I might do is flick through the last couple of chapters and see how it ends, but I don't even know if I care enough. I don't even know if I care. Next up is the writing. Listen, I love me some nice writing. I love Laini Taylor's writing. Is it flowery? Yes. Is it for everyone? No. Stay away. Did I love the binding? Yes. Did it have also a little bit more flowery writing? Yes. Did I love it? Yes. This though? This is pretentious, and I can't. I just can't. Let me try and find a few sentences that I can't. Here is an example of the writing, and I don't like this. The music, the lights, the smell of lavender and sugared liqueur. Those wisps of Marjorie's parties were here, making the rest seem even odder, close but off. It had that same not quite right feeling of dreams, the kind where Cala's and Azalea's rooms were swapped, or her mother had green eyes, or Gloria's grandmother had vines for hair. All those diamond earrings were too hard against the pink and white lily magnolias. The green of emerald rings looked cold against the jacaranda's leaves. The pins on the men's silk ties did not belong with the mimosa and lilac trees, with their flowers like soft candies. No. Then the magic. This is magical realism. These girls somehow make flowers. I don't know if the flowers grow from their hands or if they put their hands in the soil, the flowers grow. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. And this land that doesn't let them go, as soon as they leave. Oh, but the land knows if they leave, as in, oh, I'm gonna go buy some candy, or I'm getting the fuck out of here, the land knows, okay? And so when they leave in as option B, like, I want to get the fuck out of here because I want to as well. If I were them, I would also be leaving. Then the land tries to pull them back and fills their mouth with pollen and shit like that. And no, no. No, I don't like it. I don't like the characters. I don't like the world. I don't like the magic. I don't like the writing. I don't even like the atmosphere. I thought, okay, at least it's gonna do something right, and that's gonna be the atmosphere. No, I don't like it. When I read it, I get a pit in my stomach. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be with these weird ass muggy people that I don't know what they... No, I don't like anything. There's one thing I like. The cover. The cover is freaking stunning. It is just beautiful. Absolutely. The first page is also super pretty. I think I showed this to you earlier. Really beautiful. That is amazing. And something that's really nice is that this is a very diverse book because the girls are all I would say Latino. Well, yeah, they're definitely Latino, but I don't know exactly where from. That is not really stated because this is not a real world. But yeah, they're Latinx women that are also queer. So there's bisexual women, there's lesbian women, there's a little bit of everything. There's also someone who is, I'm not sure if it's gender fluid. I think it's gender fluid, yes. But yeah, so the diversity in this is great, but it just doesn't make for a good book. I don't care if the book is diverse, but if it's not good, I'm not gonna read it. It is amazing that we have these own voices of like queer Latinx women. That is amazing, but I'm sorry, I can't. I don't like this. I'm gonna DNF it. I'm 100 pages from the end. I'm gonna give it 1 star, and that's gonna be the end of that, and I'm never gonna read any of her books ever again. There, I said it, it's done. Goodbye. Okay, so to finish off this vlog, let's just do a few more coordinates pulling from my shelves. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna save all of your coordinates, and for the ones that I haven't done in this video yet, I will do a separate video where we talk about what's on my shelves for those coordinates. So I'm excited to do that with you guys at a later date, but for today I'm gonna do 3 more, and then for the rest it'll be in another separate video. And the final one for today is gonna be this one, which is 4-18. So let's go. This book is really fun because the story about me in this book is, listen, I used to read a lot of mystery thrillers when I was a kid, like the ones for kids, you know. And then, because I read so many of them, I continued reading them when I was a young teen, and then everything became predictable, right? So everything I read, I was like, I hate this. It's always the same story recycled. I probably was just picking the wrong books. Let's be real. But for a very long time, I decided this is not what I want to read anymore. I don't want to read mystery thrillers. I then became a fantasy reader, and yeah, that's who I am today. But one time I was book shopping in my actual English bookstore here in Luxembourg, and I found this book. For a paperback, it cost 11 euros and 50 cents. That's a lot. But I saw it at the store and I thought, you know what? If I don't pick this up today, I'm never gonna... What's the problem with that, you might ask? None, but I'm a bookaholic, so I saw a problem with that, you know? It was like, now or never. So now it was. I picked it up. I don't even know when. Of course, there's no date on here. But I picked it up and never read it. It was on my shelves, and like I was mentioning it with another book. Oh, it was with Wild Beauty. Once every year I go through my shelves and I see, okay, I'm no longer interested in this book. I'm no longer interested in this book. So I unhaul those books, or I didn't like this enough, I'm not keeping it. And there's some books where I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep them or not, you know, like you just don't know. And this is one of them. I almost unhauled this like 2 or 3 times. I think it was in my unhaul potentials. And I always kept on thinking, no, I still want to read this. I think it must have been the fact that I paid the full price, like the huge price for a paperback. Like, never paid that much for a paperback, guys. And I just kept it. And I kept it, and I kept it, and I never wanted to read it. And then in April, one Saturday morning, I was sitting in this chair, reading something completely different, some fantasy book I was reading. And I don't know, I was sitting here, and I was like, I turned around and looked at this shelf right here, which is where it was, right there, right, oh god, I'm really bad at this, right on this shelf. I looked at it, and this book, the spine popped out at me, and I was like, okay, do you know what? If I feel this way, I don't often have this experience with books where I look at them and I just feel like that day they're screaming my name. I've had it once more with what's it called, Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. I had that in college. It was on my shelves forever. And then one day it was like, you have to read me. And it's like, okay. And I read it in one day. And the same thing happened here. I thought, you know what? I'll read like 50 pages to see if it's any good. If it's any good, I'll continue on. But no rush, you know? And I read this whole thing in one day. I loved it. I loved it. I gave this book 4 stars. And I need to do a video on this, on how like 4 stars for me doesn't mean like every 4 stars is the same. Because like for this, for example, I had 0 expectations. I had like actually very low expectations. I really thought that I was gonna give this a 1 star, maybe 2 stars if the characters were good. And I ended up really enjoying it. I couldn't put it down. I was so invested in these characters. Like the story of this is that there's 5 kids who go into detention and only 4 of them come out alive. And they're all like a stereotype, like the smart person, the criminal, the whatever, and the whatever, the sport, the athlete or something like that. And yeah, so we need to find out who of these 4 people, if any of them, or if not all of them, killed the 5th guy, Simon, who died, right? And you follow each of their perspectives, and with each perspective, it's like, oh my god, please don't be the killer, like, I like you a lot. And then I was always trying to think, like, okay, you are the one I like the least, because if I have to pick one of them, I want you to, you know, like, I didn't want any of them to be guilty, and I just was invested in all of their POVs, and I love that. And that happens so rarely with, like, random books that I pick up, that I was super surprised, gave it 4 stars, loved it, and ever since reading this, I've been back on the mystery thriller kick. Ever since this, I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'm going to be reading The Turn of the Key. I'm going to be reading all those mystery thriller things that I thought I was never going to get back thanks to this. I rediscovered my love for the genre thanks to this book, and I will always be grateful for that. Always. So there you go, guys. That's going to be the end of this vlog. I know it's still early. I could still vlog. I still have like an hour of this vlog to go, but I'm not going to be finishing the book. I feel so happy that I'm not finishing the book. And that's gonna be it for me today. It was not as crazy as last week, which is good. You don't want to see me go down the madness rabbit hole every week. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you guys so much for sending all of the coordinates. I'll do a more in-depth video with all of the coordinates, I promise, at a later date. I saved them all. There will be discussions of all the books on my shelf. So again, guys, thanks so much for participating. Thanks so much for watching this video. I would highly recommend that you go watch all of my friends' video, because I'm sure they also had a lot of fun with their books. And actually, you definitely need to go watch Filipa's vlog. I mean, you have to watch Manganate and Tasha's as well, of course, because those girls are alive. But you have to go watch Filipa's vlog, because she is reading The Blade itself. And when she pulled the blade itself, I was so happy. Like, I jumped in my chair. Like, insert clip right here. I can't wait to see what she's thinking. And so yeah, I will leave all their channels as always linked down below. Go follow the girls, go watch their videos, go leave some love on their channels, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Vlogs in Bookland, because new episode next week coming, as every week we travel with you into Vlogland, into Bookland. Yes, we travel with you with vlogs into Bookland. So I will see you guys next week for another vlog, and until then, stay safe, read some books, and take care of yourselves. Bye guys.